It's Bonnie and I doing a reading of a kid's book.
Right. Remember the deal?
No swearing on the screen.
That's correct. So, are you ready? Yes. Are we ready?
But the messes up. No, it's work.
So, what are we reading today? This is a bit of a new one. You see, I have a little bit of a fan club. But this certain fan club...
Our fan club, I swear,
yes,
that's why they can't listen.
Can't watch Creepy Bunny. Now, obviously, I'm venturing into a very different territory with some of my writing recently, so I figured...
Oh, you didn't figure,
no,
I figured.
Oops. Fine. So, she wants to copy bunnies, essentially, and she wants to read a kid's story. So we figured we would start with one from one of our favourite authors that is a nice guy, and we saw it come up on our Facebook, and...
or was it on Amazon?
Yeah, I know you wanted it. It's fidgeting. Anyway, are you ready? Today we are going to read This, a Seagull's Tale. Okay, should we start with the first chapter? Okay.
Bloody hell, that! Oh, just sit me down.
Right, okay. So, A Seagull's Tale, copyrighted by Dave Mccluskey. For Olivia, a special seagull's tale for a special little girl.
Oh, that's quite sweet.
I know, it's very sweet. So, you ready? The cool wind that whistled over the shore came from far out at sea, carried with it spells of the ages, history, epic tales of sea battles from long, long ago. It also brought tales from fishermen and sailors who would swear blind that their ships had been attacked by ferocious sea monsters, or that men had been seduced by beautiful sirens of the sea, half women, half fish, singing tales of love before ultimately luring the unsuspecting sailors into a watery grave.
I mean, get dark, Chris. Oh, there was a kid's book.
That dark. You've heard worse.
But still, you know, watery grave and all that.
Can I carry on?
I suppose so.
It brought tales of pirates and lost treasures, of discovery and loss, of prisoners being transported to foreign lands and people in search of new lives and new adventures. It also brought the birds. Large, majestic birds with long, streamlined, beautiful
obviously
yellow
not
beaks.
talking about pigeons.
They sailed on the eddies and currents of the wind, their cries bringing their majesty and ambience to the seaside towns up and down the coasts of this green and pleasant land. Their calls echoed from the hills in the distance and ricocheted from the promenades lined with neat, colourful hotels, quaint shops, bars and restaurants. Ladies pushing prams dressed in summer clothes, dads acting the fool with their children in the streets, on the beaches.
Well, I think we should go to the beach at some point. I'd really enjoy that. At the spirit, no.
So,
carry on.
I lost where I am now. Oh, horrible little swine. So,
on their own time now. Kids need to go to bed at some point.
Young men vying? Oh my god, can't read.
This is where I should have been reading, not you.
Anyway, creepy, will you please get...
I'm just checking out Mr. Butt.
Okay. For the attentions of young ladies eating ice creams while the young ladies pretended not to be interested in the antics of silly boys. This was a seaside resort. There are many of them up and down the coasts, all of them similar, all of them familiar, and all of them rich in the traditions of holidaying families. The cries from the birds are anticipated as the smell of fish and chips and candy floss, of the bleeps and the bells of the arcade games, and the squeal of children being teased by their fathers. Trevor, will you grow up and stop encouraging Michael? You know how overexcited he gets, a young mum was shouting at her husband, who was running towards the young boy ahead of him. The husband was making monkey noises and just about to jump on the boy to wrestle him to the ground and tickle him. As he landed, the mother stopped pushing the pram, which contained the child making a mess of herself with a a particularly
Oh,
flaky
God,
sausage
here we
roll,
go again.
and looked at her husband with an angry frown. The father stopped making the whoo 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 noises and looked at
Yeah,
his wife.
Mum was better than yours, I'm not gonna lie.
Shut up. The boy was dressed in shorts and a t-shirt, and testament to how nice the weather was today, he was also wearing a black plastic policeman's helmet that was currently wonky. As he screamed with laughter from the tickles his father was administering, he was waving a toy truncheon in the air. "Stop," he gasps between guffs. "Stop in the name of law." The father turned from his wife, ignoring her irritation, and continued tickling his son. "You're under arrest," the boy half screamed, half laughed. "Am I under arrest?" the father asked, stopping his tickling. "In the name of law, you are under arrest," the boy shouted again, still laughing. "I plunder the best," the father asked again. The small boy, still laughing, began to attack his father with a toy weapon, hitting him on the shoulder and poking him in the
See what
belly.
I mean? It's got
The mother
violent again.
tutted as she watched the two boys, one young and enjoying himself, and the other older, who should know better. She couldn't help but smile, seeing them playing together. Lightened her heart.
Oh,
I know,
God.
shut
No.
up. It's my first reading, leave me alone.
No, I think you should stick to that job because you're rubbish at this.
Come on, you two, she tutted, trying her best to look serious. I don't know about you, but I would give my left arm for an ice cream.
I don't so much.
No, you're not having ice cream.
Sport.
She had said two words that caught both the boys' attention. "Ice cream?" they shouted at the same time. The pretend violence suddenly forgotten. "Can I have a chocolate mint with a flake? Can I? Please?" Trevor, the boy's father, shouted over to his wife. "It's my favourite, it really is." The boy, Michael, tutted as he watched his father hanging off the handles of the pram where Sally, his little sister, was still munching on her soggy sausage roll. Not having a sausage roll either. "Look what you've done now, Mum," the boy continued, wiping dirt from his grass-stained legs. "You set him off, good and proper." His mother raised her eyebrows and laughed. "I can see that. Me and my big mouth, eh? And a flake with strawberry sauce, sprinkles, one of those cones, the chocolate right down the bottom." The father continued. "Trevor, stop now. You're acting like you've never had an ice cream before. You're not setting a good example for the children." Instantly, Trevor dropped to the floor onto all fours. He began to crawl towards his wife. "Ice cream," he croaked, grabbing at his throat. "Ice cream. I need ice cream. 30 days I've travelled this desert looking for ice cream. Looking for dessert. I need ice cream. I would give my whole kingdom for some, not just my left arm."
Oh my God.
Sally's sausage roll dropped to the floor as she squealed with laughter at her father's antics. Michael was laughing also, and reluctantly, so was Annie, the mother. Michael had loved the desert dessert joke the most, so much so that he dropped onto all floors too, mimicking his father, and shook her head as she watched her two lunatics acting the goat on the floor of the promenade.
It was acting the goat.
Acting the goat means playing up. Yeah. Okay. Michael had loved... Yeah, I'll get there eventually. This holiday was everything they had needed as a family. "You two need locking up," she laughed. "And you, Trevor, you should be in jail for your corny jokes alone." "Corny?" he asked, a twinkle in his eye as he winked at his son. "Don't you mean coney?" The boy began to crack up again, which set Sally off. Anne shook her head and tutted. Then Sally spied her discarded sausage roll on the floor, and her laughter turned to tears. "Oh, everyone's a critic," Trevor said, shaking his head and getting up. "I can tell she's on her mother's side already." He laughed, checking his pockets to make sure none of his money had fallen out during the
Good man, let's go.
"Come on, I think I saw an ice cream parlour around the corner," Anne said, pushing the pram away from her two silly boys. Sally was leaning on it, trying her absolute best to grab at her dropped sausage roll. "I know," he said. And they turned the corner. Trevor grinned as he spied the shop. The one with the huge white and blue sign came into view. The sign read, Binky's ice cream bar. Pinky's ice
I'm
cream
Binky.
parlour.
I can Binky. Let's Binky.
I know that's what bunnies do,
Bunny's
not
Binky.
binkying
Let
on
me
my lap.
Binky.
There you go, Binkies, Anna said. Anna? Annie.
Oh no, you're
I
getting the
know I'm getting
characters
my
mixed up with
confused.
your
Stop
own.
it. Pointing towards the rather obvious sign. I love an ice cream parlour, Trevor sighed, licking his lips. What's a parlour, Mummy? Michael asked, as he stared wide-eyed at the large sign. It's kind of a shop, sweetheart, she replied. So why don't they just call it an ice cream shop? He asked. Annie thought about the question for a moment. Because it sounds posh. Michael wrinkled his face. Are we posh? No, sir, Trevor replied. We're not posh. So why are we going to a posh parlour and not a shop? I'm not really sure, Annie replied as she headed towards the beckoning sign. I know, we're not posh either. We're going to the parlour because the guy who owns the ice cream shop, the one around the corner, mixes the ice cream with his feet. His feet? Michael asked, looking like he might be sick at any moment. Yep, his feet. And you know what? The little boy looked up at his father. There was real horror on his face. The crunchy bits, the ones that you sometimes get in the ice cream, there's toenails in his...
Oh, Dave, we're in the bed box now.
Dave were falling out. No feet stuff.
She's a bit worse when it comes to feet.
Don't need to tell him. I think he's figured it out. Feet stuff. No. This is why I can't read Lindsay Crook's latest book. It's just...
Like Lindsay Crook, but you're worse.
You think it's funny. Shut up. Onions? The boy asked. The revulsion on his face was complete. Yep. Bunions are onions that grow on your feet. Sometimes they fall off and get mixed up in the ice cream. Michael's hand went to his mouth, gagging at the thought of feet onions in his ice cream. Trevor, stop teasing, Annie scolded her husband. No, Michael, the man in the shop doesn't mix ice cream with his feet. There is no other ice cream shop around the corner. Our parlour is the name of an ice cream shop. So will there be onions in my cone? The boy asked, looking at the large sign above the shop with a mixture of horror and intrigue. There might be, Trevor whispered, as he pointed to his own feet. I was helping him mix it last night. I think I might still have a bit of tutti frutti between my toes. He winked at his son as he raised his eyebrows. Michael looked at his father's feet, at his toes peeking. Why?
Dave, we're going to be friends
Through his
forever.
sandals and laughed, although there was still the tiniest bit of uncertainty in it. Annie continued towards the shop, shaking her head. Boys, she muttered, why do they never grow up? Trevor wrapped his arm around his son as the whole family laughed their way towards the exciting-looking shop. Or parlour. Yeah, that is not bad, is it?
You can't bloody read. I can do a better
Shut
job.
up, creepy. I did my best.
Tell you what, you
I
little
don't
bugger.
care
Let me
what
do
you
it
think.
next time.
You're not the boss of me. Look, if you think you can do a better job, you read it next time.
I will. I will do the next chapter.
Fine, you can read it next time. This is what I get. This is what I get all the time. You guys think you're in for it? Try working with
Yes, how dare you?
Ow!
Oh, I don't believe this.
Well, if you guys like that and enjoyed the ridiculous readings,
me rubbish like this.
then Creepy Bunny will do the next one.
You better do the next one.
And
because
then
you're
I
rubbish,
will
and I can make it more fun.
stay out of it and maybe take the pee myself. See, no swearing this time too.
Hooray!
I know you said you wouldn't. So, okay, let's just leave everyone alone.